Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron, joined here by Morty. Morty, we're going to unpack these quarterfinals, World Cup. It's been mental, some massive upsets in here. Pretty much, I wouldn't say every game, but a couple of the games here, huge upsets. Look, we're going to get straight into it. That first game there, Croatia, Brazil. Did you expect this?
No, I did. Well, Croatia have been playing the same way all tournament. They're doing whatever they got to do to make it through. Their keeper was on absolute. He's on cloud nine. He was having the game of his life almost. He's saving had like 20, 21 shots or something. Kept it all done. Took to the 100 and something minute for Neymar to come through, and then Croatia equaled it up and inevitably came through on penalties, which you'd think some Brazilians should be at least good at that thing.
Yeah, well, going into this game, I suppose, and this game, Croatia have only won one game this tournament. The rest have gone through either on penalties or drawn. So to win one game and be in the semi-finals is a bit crazy. But like you said, they're doing what they need to do to get there. It doesn't matter how you win it; it's how they do it. But yeah, look, the penalty shootout. I didn't think it was going to come. I thought Brazil would walk away with this game early on, especially the way they played against South Korea. And then, like you said, it took until 105th minute from Neymar, and I thought that's for sure the winner. I couldn't see a way back for a Croatia team who had no shots on target at that point. And then the 117th minute rolls around, and that first shot on target turns out to be a goal. Their only shot on target all game is a goal, and they get them on penalties. And that keeper, I believe, saved more shots in this game than Alisson had all tournament. And he's been phenomenal for them all tournament so far as well for Croatia. Yeah. I think he's got 2 or 3 man of the match awards now. But yeah, Croatia live to fight another day into the semi-finals. Brazil are going home. And I said it last pod that I think Brazil were they were tournament favourites going in. I think they were favourites. Maybe France, odds-wise probably pipped them to that. But for them to bow out so early, is it a disappointment or is it just like what more can you do?
I don't know. I think that they were getting lauded for the fact that they've played every player they've taken to the tournament so far. I almost think it's kind of been their downfall this game. Like, yes, they can pull off all these shots, moments of brilliance. Vinny's doing this, Neymar's doing that, but at the end, they need to play as a team. And sometimes they just look like they were getting frustrated with some of it. They're trying to do everything themselves. They're trying to take on 1, 2, 3 players when. Really, all they would have to do is take on one, play the ball, so play another way around them. They just weren't getting it, and they've got 3 up top, which all play the same way, and maybe they needed something different. I don't know. And then you bring Rodrigo on, which is the same. He's another Brazilian winger. Like they almost like they needed someone else up top.
I think. You say that. You say someone else. I think Martinelli is that good different option. Like, he's still a tricky winger, but I think he's a bit more direct. He offers a bit more of an end product than the likes of Rodrigo, and he didn't get on the pitch this game. But yeah, Brazil, look, they're kind of back to square one now that, manager's been let go. I think that was the plan regardless. If they were to lose, he said he'd step down. But they're going to have to go again in 4 years' time. Is Neymar going to be there? He's already hinted that was possibly his last World Cup. Does he want to continue? He's chasing that World Cup glory. He's just equaled Pele's all-time goal record for Brazil, but that's not enough. I think this Brazil squad is good enough to win that World Cup. They lost to Messi in the Copa America last year, and then to now bow out pretty early, I'd say, for their standards in the quarterfinals does seem like a bit of a letdown. I definitely didn't pick Brazil to lose this game, but as I said, Croatia live to fight another day. I personally don't really want to see Croatia, without offending any Croatian. I don't want to see them. I would have much preferred to see a Brazil-Argentina semi-final. I think that would have been absolutely electric. And from then on, whoever wins that, you just got to bow your head. But Croatia, they got it done. You can't knock them for that. They kick on. But now let's get into this Argentina game. And boy, was it a wild one. To start off, the referee gave out 18 yellow cards, the most in World Cup history for a single game. You thought the game was won. Argentina went up 2-0, and then next thing you know, Burnley's on loan striker Weghorst came on, got equaliser. Well, he scored an 83rd, then got a 90 plus 11th minute equaliser and sent the place crazy. and then penalties came, and Argentina did it. What were your thoughts on the game as a whole, and obviously that penalty shootout, and just everything that went on in this game?
It started before the game. Van Gaal was in it. He was feeding it. He was feeding the fire. Argentina came out like an angry punch of wolves. Like they were just furious. I mean, it was almost like if Van Gaal shut up, they probably would have won this because Argentina just came out hungry. They were all over it, and then arguably probably the 70th minute they kind of just they lacked that impact subs to come on. They didn't really have anything else to come on, and they managed to find a way through to the pens in the end. But the Netherlands looked like they were just coming out strong. They bring on a different striker. Maybe Brazil did the same thing. They'd have a different option, but different striker, different tactic. It's worked. However it may have happened, it happened. And then, the penalties, absolutely shocking. I mean, we didn't speak about Brazil ones, but Van Dijk, should have done a bit better there. He's flashbacks to the one Kepa that just completely missed the ball, and Van Dijk hit it about half speed. Like it's almost like he's just nervous, and I don't know. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think I look at this Argentine team on paper, and you think it's pretty stacked, but then you look at their bench, and again, it looks stacked, but really, there's nothing that screams impact. I mean, the only thing that really screams impact to me would be Paulo Dybala, and he's not getting any game time. I'm not sure why, but I don't know. I don't know if he's just forced to. He just made the squad for the sake of it. But they don't want to play him for whatever reason. Coach mustn't like him too much, his play style, whatever. But I think he's an impact player. But yeah, I think this whole campaign for Argentina hasn't been great. They've scraped by. I think they scraped by against Australia. Didn't play the best. We put up a great fight there. In the groups, we know they were quite underwhelming, but they did enough. I think they were lucky that they were in a pretty average group, because that first game, obviously, they lost and still were able to top the group from there. But it just shows the individual brilliance of Messi. I mean, Messi ran the game. That assist is out of this world, like ridiculous. And then his goal as well, obviously a penalty, but he is carrying Argentina. And if he does take them to the glory, I mean, you got to take your hat off to him, because he will and truly will be the GOAT at that point if he's not already.
Debate over? Is it?
It probably is, which we'll get into in a bit with the Portugal result. But yeah, I think for them to win on pens, I actually picked Netherlands to win this game. But then prior to the game kicking off, once I saw that Brazil had lost, I thought that was momentum then for Argentina to go on and win it, because they know the Brazil result. They don't want to see the other South Americans in there, so they'll go on. But yeah, that equaliser I thought might have changed things. But then Netherlands still backed off again. They didn't kind of keep the pressure on in extra time, and it got away from them. And penalties, it's a cruel way to go out. But like you said, the comments, Van Gaal's comments about leading up to the game, saying that if it goes to penalties, we'll win that, I think spurred Emi Martinez on. I mean, the scenes after full time where Messi's got mouthing off at players, Emi Martinez is mouthing off at players. I mean, it's funny to see, but they're South Americans, so it's probably expected. But yeah, look, can they go all the way? I'm just going to get your prediction now. Can Argentina go all the way? Will they beat Croatia in that semi-final?
I think the way the results have gone for Argentina, I think it probably bodes well for them. I mean, you look at some teams, they come out, they have these big results, and then they crumble because they're just the expectations on them to win. I think every team's coming up against Argentina going, oh, we can beat them. No one's really had Argentina as outright favourites. Now we can sit there. We're Australians, so sit there. They're going to flog us, and it was 2-1 at the time. They've just they've done what they needed to do to get past. They're not taking anything for granted, and they're gonna get there. Whether they win that final or not, I think they'll get past Croatia. They definitely won't go to pens with Croatia. I think, Croatia going to play the same way. Messi will find one pass. He'll be happy with that, and they'll be done. That's it for them. 1-0. But, yeah, the game was just an absolute shit show, to be honest. Whether the ref was biased or not, we can sit there and argue about whether it's being scripted for him or not. But the ref was both ways. It was absolutely appalling. And the amount of yellow cards he had to hand out, just having no control over this game whatsoever. Yeah,
it did seem like he had ridiculous. No control of the game, and that's kind of been the standard of the refereeing, I think, all tournaments. Not been great. But let's get into the fairy tale story so far of the World Cup. Morocco won, Portugal 0. Morocco's dream run continues. They knocked out Spain in the round of 16. They've now knocked out Portugal in the quarters. They've booked a date in the semi-final. again, after topping a group with Belgium and Croatia. Talk to me about Morocco. How are they doing it? And I mean, I know you don't want to. I mean, you don't really like Ronaldo, so but then talk to me about Ronaldo and his kind of what's going to happen for him.
All right, we'll go Morocco first. I mean, it's just team. It's the team mentality. It will trump any individual brilliance forever. And maybe it's why the other two haven't done it yet. Might possibly eat my words, but maybe it's just that they've got that team they're going through. I mean, you look at the teams that won in the past. France, okay, probably the outlier there with a few of the heads coming through, but yeah, they'll get. I don't know. There's something about them going on. They're doing it for each other. Their keeper as well is, he's somehow outdoing the Croatian keeper. He's probably the keeper of the tournament, and it's just hard to believe. Like, we're sitting here at World Cup and we've been talking about keepers over everyone else, but credit to them. I think that they've conceded little to nothing this whole time. They've played the big dogs. There's nothing more you can ask from them. And then on Portugal's side, time to go MLS. I think it shows that he was at the height for so long that he could not live without it, and he's kind of pushed it too far. I think. Yes, he can still do it. He's still going to be better. He's still better at that age than any of us will ever be. But I think it's just show you push it too long and you prove all the doubters right almost. If you'd just gone one less year, instead of signing for United, yes, I know he had a decent year with them, but you'll look back on it as history goes. No trophy, nothing, whatever. I don't even remember they finished, but it wasn't fucking crash hot. And that's it. It's to be said and done. You got an ugly exit. You got a World Cup where you've been laughed at for sitting on the bench. Not that it was that wrong, like probably right move. He's not unhappy with it, like the media's macking out with. He's enemy number one, but yeah, I think it's just a bit too long. If he played the MLS and then came to this tournament and just gone, you know what, this is my last one, no one would care. But the fact that everything everything that the club's gone wrong at the moment, leading into this, is just adding fuel to the fire. So, unfortunate for him. I mean, arguably, really don't give a shit because Bernardo Silva, you can eat one, have fun with that. Fernandez, goodbye. Jota's not there, so I can just absolutely rip the rest of the squad. Cancelo, have a cry, the rest of them. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't hate the bloke that much.
I think for Ronaldo, it's a sad fall from grace because I think, like you said, he had a decent year last year. I think he was quite good. In a pretty average United squad, that must be said, with an average manager at the time. He had a decent year. What was it? 18 goals, all comps. I mean, you can't ask for much more from a 37-year-old striker. But then, the fall from grace this season, the likes of the interview didn't help. His playtime not really being able to utilise his 20 minutes off the bench, 10 minutes off the bench here and there, and everything that's gone on. Not to mention his personal life, the passing of his son and things like that, or his daughter, sorry. So I think it's just all got a bit too much for him. And it's sad because you look at Messi last year, didn't have a great year when Ronaldo was, and everybody was going, the GOAT debate shifting towards Ronaldo. And then a year later, and Messi's now absolutely smashing at the PSG, having the World Cup of his life, and Ronaldo's doing the opposite and can barely even start a game now. It's sad because, I'm a fan of Ronaldo. I like to see him do well, but it's probably time for him to, like you say, go to MLS or potentially, I don't know, the way he plays just doesn't work for a 37-year-old guy. Like he's lost a step in his sprint speed and things like that. It just doesn't seem to work. Will he still banging in MLS? Probably, yeah. But on the world stage, it might be too far for him.
I think the issue is that if he's been proven right, United were an absolute shambles. Everything that came out, not everything, but I think that interview that happened was just whatever happened is a culmination of things. But if he had left in the last season, if he was that unhappy at United of what it's become, if he had just gone, no, I'm done, it's time for me to go to the MLS, it would have been the fairy tale ending that
absolutely
could have done. The last 6 months that he's pushed is just tarnished everything that he done for that club and what had happened for him. So
Yeah, I think, as I said, like
Yeah.
the off-field stuff, including the interview and things like that, just didn't help. So had he have got his exit that he probably wanted, I mean, there's Ten Hag's coming out and saying he wanted to stay, but had he have got that exit, then yeah, it would have been fair enough. He's come for one season, he's done all right, leaves to go wherever. Even if he went to another European giant, you never know. Like, he'd probably still, the confidence, he'd probably still be banging in goals. But the fact that he was going into a World Cup with little to no minutes was never going to bode well for him. And unfortunately, the only goal he got to his name this World Cup was a penalty in the first game. But now, look, on Morocco, like you said, the team mentality, the coach, for me, deserves a massive praise. I mean, he took over in August. He brought Hakeem Ziyech out of international retirement, who didn't get along with the previous coach. He's coached 8 games for him and only conceded 1 goal. And they're in a World Cup semi-final now. Like, you must give him complete praise because he's set this team up brilliantly. His man management's brilliant. And yeah, the Morocco train, it's going. And look, it's to be said, I don't know if they're going to get past France. But a World Cup semi-final, first African nation to ever do it, is crazy impressive. So fair play to Morocco, fair play to the coach, and who knows, in a few days' time, might be sitting here saying they're in a World Cup final. But for them, I think this is a brilliant performance, and brilliant World Cup nevertheless. Now let's get into England versus France, and I'm sure you'll have a lot to say about it. Start me off with England.
Look, this is much like the Argentina-Netherlands game. The refereeing was atrocious, to say it nicely. I'm not going to sit here. Yeah, look, I love to bag on England. I absolutely hate Southgate. It's been proven right. I mean, there are his doubters out there. Like, I don't think many people actually wanted him to go after their, what was it, the Group Cup of Nations, whatever it was. They absolutely fumbled everything coming through. Everything he stood for when he took over the club, we're picking players on form. Where'd that go? Out the window. I mean, yes, they got to cup final, European cup final, but what does it make a difference? It's proven again, right, that if you had some players on form in this squad, maybe it might not have been so thing. Pickford, he was having a good tournament. I won't argue that as much as I don't like the bloke, but again, like little T-Rex, didn't even get down to the bottom corner. Yes, great strike, great finish, but you just sit there and think Ramsey probably would get there. Or if Maguire wasn't there, with a big slab head, might be defender to block it or whatnot. Something along those lines or whatnot. And I don't know. It just felt like exactly what England deserved for the way that they've been this tournament. I mean, they come out, slap them up, then drew with the US. Like, that England team should not be drawing with the US. All this talk is just media talk from the US. That team should not be drawing with them. And so, yeah, they got what they deserved. Not rightfully in so, like, the pen wasn't a pen. It should have been a free kick outside the box. But, stuff like that goes the other way. Another chance here or there. Gets it along. But France, they're just going to do it, aren't they?
Look, I'll speak about France in a bit, and obviously I want to hear more of your thoughts. But I think England, this game, they did deserve to win. They were the better team. But like you said, it just goes to show that, you don't take your chances and things like that. Some individual errors cost you. I think Harry Kane, for that second goal, you can see his positioning. He doesn't know where Giroud is. He doesn't communicate with Declan Rice once he does see him, and he's got a free header over Declan Rice. And Giroud in the air is always going to beat most people. But yeah, the penalty as well, Harry Kane. You would not bank him missing that. You'd bank him scoring that 9 times out of 10. And I'm sure he does 9 times out of 10. But for me, again, Southgate probably got it a little bit wrong, substitute-wise. I think Henderson was probably fair enough to start, given he's actually had a good back end of the tournament. But for me, you've hit the half an hour mark. You're chasing a goal, and yes, they ended up getting it. Not long after the break, but 3 defensive mids, you need to go attacking. And for me, I think Declan Rice and Bellingham were having much better games than him. He needs to be the one to come off and change something, put an attacker on. James Maddison didn't see a minute all tournament. What was the point of him even going after, the controversy, will he go, will he not go? What's the point of him going? Mason Mount, I'm obviously an advocate for him, but he came on, he changed the game instantly, won the penalty. which was a clumsy challenge, obviously, by Theo Hernandez, but nevertheless, the likes of Grealish came on with, 95th minute? Like, what's the point? So for me, that was kind of got it wrong. But England, once they scored that penalty, once they got back in the game, there was about 5 minutes where they looked on top, and you thought, all right, this is England's game now. And then they went and sat back again. They invited France back into the game. So I think if England just carried on, they would have won this game in normal time, or at least, in extra time penalties, who knows. But they gave France the chance to get back into this game and go ahead and win it. And at that point, I mean, again, Harry Kane should score that penalty. He probably does most times, but the game was lost mentally, I think, for them once they let Giroud score that winner. So disappointing World Cup. I mean, a lot of people will go and say, fair enough, but this England team needs to win something. I know they're all young, so they've got plenty of time, but the golden generation, is it just going to fly by again where, it happened with the likes of your Gerrard, your Lampard, your Terry, Ferdinand, all these players? Is that going to happen again, or are they finally going to win something? I don't know. Now, talk to me about France. Look, I've been asking for predictions for the finals. Will they go on now and win it? Is this their momentum? Is this them going back to back?
Just on the England lineup as well. I mean, by under no means will I expect Trent to start over Walker this game. Coming up against Mbappe. I mean, history does speak for itself. Go look at the goal scoring conceded. But you look at it. This is going to be Walker's last World Cup. All right, you've got Trent there. You've taken him all the way there. You played him for 20 minutes. Like, whether you like it or not as the manager, surely he had plenty of time in the group stage. Start him at right back. You know what? If they're already through, let him play. As you said, they got 3 defensive mids on the field. How much more defense? You can't take his defending out of the picture all as one. He would have created at least 5 chances for Kane to put on his head.
Yeah, look, I think
he's going to find him there.
I think I was actually surprised they went with the back 4. I thought they'd play back 5, but Walker was the right decision. He did well to mark Mbappe out of the game. But Hendo, I mean, there was often times we saw him sitting at right back. So what's the point of having Hendo there when you could have a Trent? And I'd love to say Trent's useless defending, but going forward, having Kyle Walker behind him, that's cover. He can just then have free roam. So why have Henderson at right back or, moving out to the right-hand side when you could have a Trent there who can also do a job in midfield? He doesn't get much time to play there, but everybody knows he can play midfield. So give him a chance. Like I said, the Mason Mounts, the James Madisons, but Trent could do the same job, if not better, from the right-hand side. So the fact that he didn't get on is ridiculous.
My only issue is that, they went down, whatnot. Obviously, it hasn't worked out for him, but Trent is like the kryptonite to Mbappe. Mbappe, he will not get back. So what better than a right back that's just going to fucking tear off and go away? And either pulls another midfielder out, which you let a Madison come through the middle, and then Madison's got the chance. It just they play with this mindset of just that we need to stop them and we'll scrap something through. It doesn't work like that. It shouldn't work like the attack that they have. They should just be getting fed the ball left, right, and center. Just go for gold. They got Declan Rice. They got Bellingham that will run around all day. Henderson sat there perfectly. He done exactly what he's been needed to do for Liverpool. He hasn't done for the last 10 matches in the Prem, but hopefully he's back in form doing it because it's sitting at right back is exactly what he should be doing when Trent's going forward. But it just frustrates me because, you can look at it, James has been injured. You can sit there and say James will be the right back for the next one, but shows James is injured. What are they going to do? Play Trent, who's, pissed off, hasn't been picked for nothing? It'll be 25, 26 by the time he gets to the next World Cup. If Southgate's still in charge for another 2 years, you got 2 years under a new manager. James, I'm not going to get into that debate now, but he'd be hating for it. He'd go play for Jamaica or something else, like some other English players.
Well, I don't. Yeah, that's the issue though that Trent's going to have is he can't change nationalities now because he can't change license because he has international minutes, not just friendlies. He's played in the World Cup now, so he can't switch. I'm sure he probably wishes he could. I don't know. Is Jamaica his other option? Is it or was it?
I reckon Brazil would take him. They got no.
Yeah, but you got
37-year-old Dani Alves.
Yeah, you got to find some sort of allegiance to that country that you can't just go and pick like club football.
No.
But look, I completely agree with you though. Trent should have saw more minutes this tournament. You should have definitely groomed him, especially in the group stage at least. So look, not to be for England, but talk to me about France then. Will they go and do it now? Do they get past Morocco, who are on a fairy tale?
Olivier Giroud should be the third name next to Messi and Ronaldo. My man. Take everything away. Take it all away. Just put his highlight reel on and show the stats next to it. And, our grandchildren will be sitting there going, oh, my God. Because the bloke, he can't stop. He can't stop. He's scoring in quarterfinals. He's winning games for him. He's doing exactly what we all expect him to do, but somehow has failed throughout his career. But I don't know. I think France have just got something about them. Since losing all the other names, they're just like, you know what, everyone wrote us off. We've lost all these other players, but we're still great. We're still France. They've got the depth for days. They can have anything go wrong, and they'll still have someone else to think. I think actually Giroud, if Giroud gets injured, they might not do it. But the rest of them, I think Giroud just offers something different. He's like a Harry Kane that doesn't just keep passing the ball. He's got the ball. He's going to shoot. He's going to find a way to get that ball on target or do whatever he's got to do. And they can buck Mbappe all they want. Someone else is going to do it for him. I think
that's why. I mean, that's arguably why France won the World Cup in 2018, because although Giroud didn't have a single shot on target, didn't score a goal, he was instrumental, allowing his build-up play, his hold-up play, allowed the likes of Mbappe to run through and have a breakout tournament. And Griezmann obviously have a great tournament. So yeah, everybody wrote him off. Well, not wrote him off, but said, "Oh, can they do it without Karim Benzema?" Well, Giroud's always been the main man ever since. I mean, Benzema was out of the team for however long because of all these issues, but Benzema's always been the guy. He's now their top goal scorer all time. And you just make a great point. Like for me as a Chelsea fan, I hate that we let him go for like $1 million. And we're struggling now to score goals. Like this guy is, like you said, if you put his highlights package on YouTube and show your kids, like he scored some seriously good goals. He's so underrated, and to be doing it at 34 is outrageous. And they can definitely. And if he brings it home for him, if they can bring it back to back, I mean, he's going down in history books, that's for sure. But
yeah, France are playing exactly like the top teams are playing. You look at Arsenal, who are currently still in front of the league. Jesus, the mystery man, he doesn't actually score that much, but they play it like that. He's just that body that's making the space for everyone else. Liverpool did it with Bobby a couple of years ago, and arguably again this season, but it's what it's in. Even Man City, they play with no striker. They just put someone in the middle and hope that he gets defended out of the game. I think it's probably the way forward. I think so. Gone are the days of that big Peter Crouch style striker, and I think even look at Kane. Kane's had to adapt to a different way to play because a couple of years ago he'd be the one just sitting up top, not doing much and just trying to bag some goals, and now he's almost back with the defensive mids. So.
All right. Well, look, I want to finish off. Then I'll get your predictions for the semi-finals. I'll drop mine, and then we can tee this one off. So, talk to me. Argentina versus Croatia. Who wins? Who goes through to the final?
Argentina, 105th minute extra time.
Okay. All right. And Morocco, France. Who joins them?
I think France 1-0.
Heartbreaking stuff from Morocco. Look, I'm going to go with Argentina over Croatia. I think just Messi, is it meant to be? Yes. And then France do join them. It's going to be a close game. Morocco have made it hard, but I think France do join them. And then we get a Mbappe versus Messi, and Argentina versus France World Cup final, which for me, I mean, you couldn't ask for much better. Would be fireworks. And I think Messi finally does it. I think it's potentially his year, and he's going to go out on a high. And hopefully get the golden boot in the process because I backed him too. So hopefully Mbappe doesn't score any more goals. That's what I say.
Before you go, not to put some downers on these two countries or whatnot, but what happens if you get a Croatia-Morocco final? How many less people are actually coming to watch that?
Yeah, look, Morocco, I think the story there would be Morocco. But like Croatia, fair play on. They make back-to-back World Cup finals. But unless they win it, I don't really care to see Croatia in the final. Like if it's a Croatia-France final again 4 years on, would just be like, oh, what's the point? Like you want a different World Cup final every time, really, don't you?
Yeah, that's the way. Well, if we can put France in there, it's not really a different one, but
no, but you can respect France because I mean the the powerhouse that they are. Like if they come up against Argentina, it's going to be an absolute cracker game. But Croatia just haven't played the football that you kind of want to see from a World Cup winning team. But look, Morty, thanks for joining me. Hopefully we can get you on again for the semi-final review or whatever. Hopefully we can get all the boys on. But again, thanks for joining me, Morty, and we'll catch you